Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott Wave update for Bitcoin. Now, I'm going to be focused on the micro count, this correction right in this area today in this video. So if you haven't watched my previous video where I go over the macro, I would suggest watching that. But if you don't want to go into too much detail, just be clear that we have two counts, either the wave 2 over here, in which case we're looking for another wave up to complete a third wave, where we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for our third, and then expecting a fourth wave consolidation, or our wave 2 is back one pivot and we actually have topped in our third wave, in which case we're expecting a larger correction down between around 48,600 and 57,040, and ideally this range right here at this previous level as support. So that's just an outlook on the larger daily, the two corrections I'm looking for. And a lot depends on what happens in this area. So I just want to focus on that area today. So we'll go down to the 1 hour. So one thing that's clear to me is this was a three-wave move. Looks like a flat, a 335. We came to the one-to-one extension of this first wave down off our B or X wave for our C wave to the downside at 59,968. You watched my previous video looking for longs from that area. We were looking for this to turn into a 5-wave move or a 1-2-1-2. Did not do that. We invalidated the 1-2. So we have 3 waves off the low and currently 5 waves off that pivot. So we're going to discuss what can be happening here. One scenario I'm considering is the fact that we are in a X wave. Go to a little larger view here, where this is a 3-wave move as an ABC, in which case we have a W wave. And if this gets extended out in time, we have an X wave and then our Y wave for that larger view where our third wave has topped on the larger degree. So that's one thing I'm very closely paying attention to. We would expect to come between the 618 and the 1-to-1, although there's no time constraints on an X wave. It can be very short. It can be technically in right now, although I think unlikely. I'd expect it to drag out more in time. So what that means is we're most likely going to be within a range of trading for the next little bit if this is what is panning out. So for trade setups, you'd want to be trading within the top end or the low end of that range, right? So I am in a long currently right now. I'm scalping this full disclosure there. I'm scalping this on the micro time frames down at like the 1 minute, and I'll explain why. But as of right now, this is my bearish scenario where the fourth wave is right in the middle of happening and we're on our X wave and looking for 3 waves after the fact. But how we can recover here, which I mentioned in the last video, is if we make 3 or 5 here, depending if this is a WXY or a flat. If we make 5, what's important is what happens in this area over here. Do we consolidate sideways, in which case I'd look for another long to the upside, or do we end up collapsing rather than consolidating sideways here? So that's the area of importance once we get up to target. But as of right now, considering this an A wave, looking for a B wave to complete, and looking for a C wave up after the fact. If we do recover in those areas of 3s, this is where I would consider that all these corrections are still in play as either a triangle or a flat. And if this happens, then I would move my third wave back over and consider that we're still looking for our 5th wave in that third. All right, and that once again is if we come up, get our sideways consolidation and make those pushes up to the upside. Very important what happens in this area. So I'm going to talk about my trade I'm currently in. Go down to the 15-minute. So we have 3 waves off the low, as most likely an A wave, and then we have 5 wave moves to the downside. And it's very important to realize that when we have 5 waves off a high like that, it's either completing something or starting something. And to me, there's nothing it can complete here. This doesn't look like an expanded flat. It comes outside of guidelines past the 1.236 and 382. So most likely the start of a correction. So we have 5 down and most likely a zigzag. A friend of mine was asking me about this. He's like, can it be a 1-2 down? Technically it can be, but very low probability because this would be a W wave. And in that case, that's the entire correction of this entire move, right? Seems very, very unlikely. So my bias is it's an A wave, looking for a B wave up between the 50 and the 618 of the 5 waves to the downside, in which case we'll target a 1-to-1 extension of this A off this B for our B wave to complete, in which case we would flip long, look for a 1-to-1 of this A for the C. And again, after this fact is where that very important wave comes to give us bias one way or the other of long or short. So as of right now, I am down on the micros trading this long. Let me go to my other chart. I'm trading this on MEXC. I'll just show you because this is what I've been doing all week, is just trading the micros just to see where we are. Again, 3 waves up, 5 waves down, right? So in the middle of a B wave of a B wave. So down on the 1 minute, that's our 5 waves down. This is the completion of our 5 waves down. Have a 5 wave move up in my point of view. We then have a 3, 3, 5 as a flat for our B wave within our B wave, and looking for 5 waves up here to complete our C wave at the 1-to-1 of this A wave off the B for our C, up around 65,800, in which case I will flip short after the fact for that larger C wave. So we've got to pay attention to how all these things kind of come together. Now another thing to realize is this is 3 waves down, my point of view. We have hit the 1-to-1 extension of this A for our C wave in that scenario, but this can also turn into a complex correction. Just always got to realize that. The only difference being C wave complete here as an ABC, or if this is going to be a double zigzag for our B wave, this can be a WX, and then we just get another zigzag here as an ABC, and then we attempt the upside. Only difference is one more move to the downside, right? So that's what I'm looking for. My trade setup was right down at this 1-to-1, stop at the low of those 5 waves down, and targeting right here if this pivot holds at 68,841. So nice little 3-to-1-ish trade setup. And after that, I am planning to take a short between the 618 and the 786 there of that down move, and looking for 5 wave move down. Okay, so trying not to overcomplicate things, I'll just show you how that all works together. So back to my Binance chart. Again, looking for 5 waves up here to that 65,800 area. Equal length here, ABC. Zoom out to the 15-minute. You can see where we're looking. There's our 5 waves down. That's going to be our B wave. And we're going to look for a 1-to-1 of this A wave for our C wave eventually. In which case we'll have 3, 3, and we'll look for that move to the upside after the fact. So that's how I am trading it. If something changes, I will make sure to let you know. But as of right now, I am long with my stop at that A wave low at around 62,800-ish. My exact stop is 62,728.90 on my exchange, but you'll have to check your own exchange for that. All right, guys, so that's it for Bitcoin. Hopefully that's not too complicating. I'm trying to explain things as well as I can. You just need to learn how waves morph together. And the important thing in this trade setup, and the obvious tell to me, unless something changes, is this is 5 waves down. It doesn't end a correction, so it's the start of a correction. So that's why I am bearish for at least one move down of an equal length, and this is 5 waves up, so looking for 5 waves up. Same concept, just different time frame. All right, guys, so that's it for Bitcoin. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.